Good afternoon, everyone. It is Tuesday, March 2nd, just a beautiful day here in Topeka, at least. We're getting a nice taste of spring after after 2 weeks ago, and we'll see how long that lasts. And we got to admit, we don't really have too much to talk to you about today. Probably the big news is the Senate did advance to final action. Senate Bill 235, which is the back to school bill that wants all kids to have an in-person option by March 26th. Remarkably, though, for a bill that says this is its purpose, the sponsors, which include Senate President Ty Masterson, Chairman of the Education Committee Molly Baumgart, and others, all basically said this is not a mandate. Even though it says district shall or must or directed, said there's no penalty, there's no enforcement. I'm not going to say you won't get in trouble if you don't, but they're really kind of saying this isn't really taking away local control. It's a strong nudge or a suggestion, and so it's a little weird. And of course, the opponents were all saying, "Well, you're all about local control, and what about this?" And that's why they're saying, "Oh, this is still local control because we're not really making you do it." So the bottom line is, frankly, how would we advise you? Well, this will be the law, but there isn't an enforcement mechanism. We do know that most districts have reported they plan to be back in person offering this option by this time. But as we've noted in our testimony, the bill does not apply just to now or this year or this pandemic. It would be permanent going forward. But again, there is no penalty in it. So that was advanced to final action. I listened. Guys, did anything in the debate? Did you hear anything you think also ought to be noted?
Well, I think there's something that folks need to be aware of in the discussion of an amendment to dedicate some COVID funding for hazard pay for teachers. There was quite a bit of discussion by opponents of that amendment that schools are getting, $112 million of CARES Act, and they're getting $300 million in ESSER 1 funding, and there's plenty of funding to go around. And if you want to pay your teachers hazard pay with federal money, you can already do that. And that's probably true. But the overall narrative, continues to be that schools are getting tons of money from the federal government, and we're not really sure that they're spending it correctly, or in this case, you should spend it this way, or can spend it that way. So again, as we keep saying, when you have a chance to talk to your legislators, make sure you're telling them what you're doing with your federal relief funding and what it can be spent on.
Great reminder. What have you done? If you haven't drawn down your money, what are your plans for it, if any, and how are you looking ahead to the next round of money and maybe the next two rounds of money that might be coming? Real quickly, would note today that the Senate did pass on final action Senate Bill 51, the foster care report card bill, Senate Bill 62, the vision screening bill, Senate Bill 121, the oversight committee for child welfare, and Leah, do you happen to remember the House bill number?
2066 in the House?
Well, no, the library bill.
Oh yeah, 2833.
Well,
some combination of those numbers.
It's the bill that repeals a cap, kind of an archaic cap on contributions for city or school district libraries.
That's right.
Good day for bills we were supporting, I guess, in some ways. Another bill that the House debated today was House Bill 2066, which kind of is designed to expedite licensure of professional and occupations like, well, teachers. And this is one that kind of gets into who should be deciding licensure, but there's parts of it kind of already on the books. It wasn't terribly controversial. Education licensure wasn't mentioned in the debate. We did not weigh in on the bill, but that was also advanced to final action. The House and Senate are both still debating now bills as they move toward turnaround. So we don't yet know what tomorrow's general orders calendars will look like in either house. We'll get that out to you later when we see it tonight. There are a couple big bills coming up. We are expecting the Senate may take up 173, which is the kind of at-risk bill that would remove the sunset on high density weighting, but put in some new restrictions and requirements and accountability on using at-risk dollars. And also Senate Bill 31, which is a bill dealing with bond and interest state aid that would be helpful to districts receiving state aid. We are supporting both of those at this time. So we'll be seeing whether those come, but those are kind of the main pieces still out in the Senate. The House, the one thing we know is 2119 is the education bill that combines funding, expansion of private school aid, both the current scholarship program and a new education savings account program, and then put some restrictions on distance learning. That's available. We don't know whether they'll want to take up something that big this week. Could come up tomorrow, or they could make it exempt and stay on it. And then, Leah, there's a couple of other bills that might be coming up. One dealing with civics education, one with financial literacy are probably the big ones that we're watching. Don't know yet about them, but you want to remind folks what they are.
Sure. The civics bill says that students would have to pass a civics test, a 60-question civics test, sometime between the grades of 7 through 12 in order to get a high school diploma in Kansas. We oppose that bill because it that impinges on local control and also on the State Board of Education's constitutional jurisdiction over state public K through 12 schools and curriculum and offerings. And then the personal finance bill is a bill that says if you offer a personal finance course to your high school students, you have to allow them to count that as one half of a math requirement for graduation. And we are opposed to that bill as well.
And then I think there's also a few other bills. The school bus stop arm bill is still potentially out there. Bill dealing with testing the kind of communities that cares and other surveys that would require some additional material provided to parents before they give permission to participate in these. But again, not sure what will be coming up. This time of year, legislature is running through a lot of bills, but they usually don't like to bog down with a lot of things. So we will be posted. We know they will continue to be debating tomorrow. We're not entirely sure the rest of the week, other than that the deadline, the Senate has already posted that they will be pro forma on Friday, which means that the Senate is planning to finish its work sometime Thursday, but how they'll space things out, we're not entirely sure yet. We have not heard for sure if the House will follow suit on that. Scott, we've let you be pretty quiet. I know you've been working on some other things. Anything you want to bring in?
No, just that, yeah, we're on pins and needles, waiting to see if 2119 ends up above the line on the House calendar. And like you said, it looks like the legislature is going to want to wrap up its work Thursday, maybe, and then we'll have a couple of days off before they come back.
So pretty critical right now to be, again, we've shared your concerns, our concerns and your concerns, we believe about the kind of the private school expansions. The other big piece of 2119 is, unlike the Senate bill, which is a nudge or requirement, there would be some actual financial changes for students in remote learning. It doesn't necessarily prohibit remote learning. It's complicated, but we would strongly encourage your districts to be looking at that bill, those provisions of the bill, and sharing with your legislators what you think the consequences, good, bad, or otherwise, might be regarding those bills, and sharing them with your legislators either this week as soon as possible, or if there's a little bit of a layover and break, you've got a little more time to do that. So, okay, we're coming up on kind of our time. So guys, if there's anything else you want to shout out, we'll wrap it up for now. Again, probably tomorrow night, one night, maybe late. If there's bills hanging, we'll wait for them, but they pretty much finished the bills we were following closely today. So we thought we'd bring this to you now. Thanks a lot. We'll see you tomorrow.